Good morning and welcome to Insight on Splash 105.5 FM. I'm Oluwaseun Akinola. Thursday, September 7, 2017, a cross-section of Yoruba leaders and representatives of diverse groups and interests from the southwest, including Yoruba in Kogi and Kwara states, converged on the Lekan Salami Stadium at Adamasingba, Ibadan, to deliberate on and ratify a charter proposed as a position of the Southwest on the path to restructuring of Nigeria. The occasion gave the world what they called Ibadan Declaration. On this week's edition, I engaged the Secretary General of Yoruba Council of Elders, who was one of the conveners of the summit, on what the Yoruba nation wants from Nigeria. Dr. Kunle Olajide is my guest. Dr. Olajide, welcome to the program.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here.
It's a pleasure.
I must congratulate you on the Yoruba Summit.
Thank you very much.
We'd like to do a bit of appraisal of that summit. Let's see. In any conference or any proposal or program rather, people used to have the aim and the objectives, the goals. Did you meet your set goals for that summit?
Thank you very much. Substantially, we met our set goals in the sense that our major objective was to rally around all the different sectors of Yoruba land. The traditional institution, political leadership of all ideological persuasions, the cleric of all religions in the southwest, market women, labor, academia, the intelligentsia, the youths, the socio-cultural organizations, and so on. You know, that was a major objective. We wanted to listen to them because this subject has been on for quite a while. So we wanted to hear their views, aggregate their views, and come up with a consensual position where all of us agree on what type of Nigeria we want. And I think substantially the objective was met yesterday. So
you had people from all walks of life?
All walks, all sectors of the Yoruba nation, of the Nigerian society.
All right. That done. I was there at the event really, and I saw that there was a substantial crowd of people. And you also brought in people from the south, from the southeast.
We didn't really bring them in. They wrote us to request for their presence.
You did not really invited them?
Yes.
You didn't invite them?
Yeah, no. This was purely a Yoruba show. Okay. But when they wrote to say they have been reading about our proposed summit, and in any case, we have been meeting at Southern Leaders Forum in the last 2 years, and they said they wanted to come and solidarize with the Yoruba people, watch us, listen to us, and according to them, in their humility, learn from us. So we replied to say they are most heartily welcome. They are our brothers and sisters. If Arewa had written to us that they wanted to come, we would have invited, we would have accepted. Yes, we would have allowed them. Yes, it was our show, and anybody who shares our aspirations and wants to come and solidarize was welcome. So they were there.
Now, so you, at that summit, the Yoruba people, as you said, agreed on certain issues about restructuring.
Yes.
I saw some divergent views even from the speakers, but we might take a look at one or two of them. But the broad part was that Nigeria is due for restructuring, and that we should restructure the governance architecture of Nigeria. And there was reference to the 1960-1963 Constitution. Now, let's take a look at your resolutions. One of them, which was major, was more like a return to regionalism. Another one that I saw was more like we should have a new constitution.
Absolutely.
Let's look at these two.
Yep.
Why do we want to go back to regionalism?
Yes. I think let's go back to history. It was Macpherson who introduced regionalism, 1954 Macpherson Constitution. That was when we had the West, the East, and the North. And subsequently, we had the Independence Constitution of 1960, which retained this structure. Then I think it was in 1963, Midwest region was created. So we had 4 regions. They were the federating units at that time. And you will agree with me, all over the world, federations are built from the base. They are not built from the top. You build a house from the foundation, you don't build it from the roof. In other words, it is the federating units that come together to agree on the type of constitution they want, on the type of powers they want to cede to the federal government, because they have the powers. It is the people who have the powers and the sovereignty, and those people are in the federating units. So they have to agree. Let me take you back to the American Constitution. The 13 colonies got together in 1775. That was the beginning of the American Federation, to come and agree on what powers they wanted to cede to the central government and the ones they wanted to hold. Because the power inherently belongs to the people, and the people reside in the federating units. So that was what we had 1954, 1960, 1963. And I can assure you, Nigeria made tremendous progress. Tremendous progress. There was very healthy competition between the regions. That's number one. Number two, the regions were coordinates with the center. They were not subordinates. The center was not the headmaster and the regions the pulpit teachers. No, as we have it now. I recall with nostalgia, Tafawa Balewa could not snap his finger and say Awolowo should come to Lagos. No, they have to agree first and foremost, and it must be at Tafawa Balewa's convenience and Awolowo's convenience, because they were coordinates, they are co-equals. People elected them based on the constitution for certain specific responsibilities. So they are responsible to those who elected them. It is quite different from what we have today. And why the nostalgia now that we should go back? Nigeria began its march to progress in 1960, and it was very, very swift and very encouraging. Western region came by 1959, introduced the television, which was the first in black Africa south of the Sahara. And even before Southern Europe, Western region came, introduced the first industrial estate in Nigeria, in Ikeja. Western region came, introduced the first housing estate, Bodija housing estate in Nigeria. Western region came, built the first modern stadium in Africa south of the Sahara. Western region came, established its own university. Now Obafemi Awolowo University, it used to be University of Ife. The other regions followed suit, even going beyond those physical structures. Western region was the first to raise the minimum wage to 5 shillings per worker per day. Federal government was paying about 2 and 3 shillings. The other regions were paying 2 and 6. It was Western region. Western region was the first to introduce free compulsory universal primary education. That is development of human capital. East attempted, followed suit, but the Eastern program collapsed because the late Sage Chief Obafemi Awolowo did his homework thoroughly. Before this program was started, he calculated, based on existing statistics at that time, the projected pupil population for primary schools for about 10 years ahead. He calculated the number of classrooms that would be required. He calculated the amount of funds he would need ahead before the program was started at all. Did all this calculation and realized that he needed to tax the citizens of Western region education levy, which he did. He imposed a special levy to cater, because he was going to supply books, which he did, to supply stationery, writing materials, pencils and so on for the pupils. So he did all his calculation. But the moment we started it here, Eastern region followed suit, Dr. Nnamdi Azikiwe. But because those preliminary statistics were not done, the Eastern region program collapsed within 3 years of its commencement. And that tells you that there was a good march to progress with the 1963 constitution. Nigeria would by now have been in a first world country, there was no doubt, absolutely. But the military truncated this march to progress in 1966 with their intervention. And if you recall, the British had already advised the northerners, the northern leaders, to go and stuff the military with their children, because the Europeans, the colonialists, anticipated that the military will ultimately be the power base of this country. So Ahmadu Bello went out of his premier's office to secondary schools to mobilize pupils to go into the army and the armed forces, which they did. So by the time the military intervened and truncated their march to progress, the North had a majority in the armed forces. They were controlling the armed forces. Although the officer corps was then being controlled mostly by, I think, Easterners. But the real fighters, the artillerymen, were the Northerners. So when the military intervened in 1966, they abolished this federalist constitution that was taking Nigeria to the first world and gave us a unitary constitution along the line of the military high command. You know, the military command is order and obey. So the center became extremely powerful. And if I may remind you, the Constitution of 1960-1963 had on the exclusive legislative list for the central government just under 16 items. They were merely foreign affairs, immigration, defense, customs, currency, and so on. Just about 14 items. But now we have 67 items on the exclusive legislative list. Even when you want to marry, it is a federal item now. They have put on agriculture, education, roads, and so on exclusively. Then police. In the First Republic, we had regional police. We had local government police that were called Akoda in Yoruba land. So it was the military intervention that truncated the progress of this country. And now that we have operated this unitary system now for upwards of about 30-something years, it has been retrogression all the way. We will take 2 steps forward and 10 backwards. Infrastructure has virtually collapsed. Nigeria, with a population of about 180-200 million, depending on less than 4,000 megawatts of power generation. Industries have closed down. Multinationals have moved to neighboring countries like Ghana and so on because of this power problem. Security is in danger. Nobody is safe anywhere. You have the insurgency in the north, you have kidnapping, armed robbery everywhere, and so on. Millions of qualified youths, graduate youths, are roaming the streets unemployed. That is a time bomb waiting to explode under this central system of government. What other damage did this do to us? In the First Republic, what we had was on revenue allocation. It was agreed, universally agreed, that the region should maintain its resources, explore and exploit the resources within the region, retain 50% of such revenues in that region, send 30% to the center distributable pool that will still be distributed amongst all the other regions. Then only 20% went to the federal government for the few items I have enumerated. Only 20%. What do we have now? The derivation then at that time was 50% to the region producing it. But now we have 13. In fact, it started from 1%. When the military came in, the first gave derivation only 1%. It was agitation from the south side that gradually increased it to 13%. That's what we have now, instead of the original 50%. So the regions or the states as they are now have been incapacitated. They cannot set their priorities. They have to go cap in hand to Abuja. Under the old system, the regional system you referred to, all the VAT collected in Lagos would have remained in Lagos, and Lagos would just have dispatched 20% to federal government and 30% to the distributable pool, then retained 50% for itself. But what happens now? All the VAT go to the center, and the Lagos that produce the VAT takes perhaps less than 30%. And those that did not make any contribution at all to the VAT because of their religion, they don't take alcohol, they don't smoke, they don't do all this, take a lion's share of the VAT that was produced in Lagos. So this is why we believe sincerely that the federating units must be strong than what they are now. They look like satellites now. They go cap in hand to Abuja every month begging. It is this federal government that gives bailouts. What is federal government producing? Virtually nothing. The only land the federal government has in Nigeria today is the FCT. They have no other land. The land that produce the agricultural produce that bring money to Nigeria belongs to the states. The VAT is collected from the states. The goods that are realized, the custom duties from the ports in Lagos, it is in Lagos state. the heavy trucks that come to convey these goods to the other parts of the country ply Lagos roads and degrade those roads continually. Yet all the revenues realized they are taken to the center, and then the federal government sits as the big master and begins to dish it out in bits and pieces. We know that that cannot make for the progress of this country.
The program is Insight on Splash 105.5 FM. We'll take a break and be back. Thank you for staying with us on Inside here on Splash 105.5 FM. My guest is Dr. Kunle Olajide, the Secretary General, Yoruba Council of Elders. We are still talking about the Ibadan Declaration. Okay, now I've seen from your analysis, detailed analysis, that the system has hampered the growth of the federating units.
Absolutely.
And also hampered the growth of the nation itself, invariably. But I'd like you to clear something for me. First is this: which is the problem, the system or the people?
The system is the people. A flawed system will produce flawed leadership, because even the system of producing the leaders itself is severely flawed. Basically, the system makes the political leaders the masters of the country, whereas they are the servants of the people.
Now, because why I asked the question?
I know. The
people...
two is at fault, but it is the system that is much more at fault. This is why the leadership is far away from the people. They don't even know where the shoe pinches. You get elected to Abuja and you completely disconnect yourself from those who elected you. You don't want to see them anymore again because you are far away in Abuja. And I said it once on your network, that if the powers reside in Agodi there, in the government house and the secretariat, and the roads you plied here bad as they are, I will pick up placard and walk. I can trek conveniently from here to the government house and demonstrate, but I can't go to Abuja. Agodi, the government secretariat, yes,
you can
and
trek
the secretariat,
to Agodi.
Trek there to go and protest that my rights have been tampered with, that I don't have roads and these are my tax receipts, I pay tax. But can I do that in Abuja?
But Dr. Olajide, even today now,
yes,
the people don't do what you are saying.
You mean the ordinary people?
Yes.
You want them to go to Abuja?
Can't we go to the governor here?
What powers does he have? How much powers does he have?
Isn't the governor responsible for developing the state as well?
It is the system again that gave so much powers to the leadership at the center and the leadership at the states.
So will regionalism not give powers to them?
Oh, it will. It will. If you want to ask me why, I will explain to you.
I need to know.
Oh, simple. Regionalism, one, when you have the powers residing in the region, the governors are nearest to the people. And what we are advocating is a mixed parliamentary presidential system. So, not the presidential system we have now.
So there will also be a change in governance structure.
Yes, of course.
The architecture will change.
It will change. If you retain this, it's going to be the same thing.
Okay, now let's look into that regionalism and how you want to run it. For instance, what template do you have? You said now, you already gave me a hint that it will be something like a parliamentary system of government.
Yes,
a mixed parliamentary system of government. Let's look at, will the region also have premier or what?
You can give whatever nomenclature you want.
There will be a structure in the region.
Oh yes, the region is a federation. The region now will be a federation of the states. They will draw up their own constitution. The states making the region will sit and draw up their constitution and determine the powers they want to cede to the central government you are talking about, the regional government. Oh yes, they will agree on the powers to cede to it. It will be, for example, like interstate roads, like power generation, which is very financial, money consuming, and so on, major thing. Then they will leverage on their relative advantages. A state may have the advantage of land for agriculture, another state may not have it, and so they will sit. It is not this military constitution. No, each region will write its own constitution that suits that area. Those who want to have Sharia will be free to put it in their constitution, so there will be no Boko Haram insurgency, because it is Sharia they are fighting for. So it gives relative freedom. It frees the federating units and gives them the right to set their priorities. I think I mentioned it on this network.
You mentioned it to me.
Exactly. A governor was happily announcing that he has spent over 3 billion naira on pilgrimages. Fine. If that is the priority of his people, nobody will quarrel. But anybody who comes to your state or Ekiti state to say he has spent 3 billion of their money on pilgrimages will have himself almost stoned, because we have different priorities here.
Now, wouldn't we have the powers also, vested in the center that will be created with the region?
Oh yes, that's what I said. The states will determine the power they want to give to the region. It's not absolutism as we have now. Now, as we have even in the states, the power of the governor is the all in all. In fact, they are more dictatorial at the state level than even the presidency. I know, it is the system, it is the constitution that gives that. Now, they can spend their money the way they please, but it will be different. Because what we are advocating is, once you have this mixed parliamentary presidential system, the ministers or the commissioners, 2/3 of them will be from the parliament. They must be elected, they must be popular in their various constituencies to get elected to the parliament.
So there must be representatives of that.
Obviously, people. It's not that you become governor now, you go and bring your friend from California who will come and teach you how to steal the state's money. You make him commissioner for finance, you bring another one from perhaps NNPC to be commissioner for finance and so on, and then you perfect the system of siphoning our monies to Dubai and co. But these 2/3 of the ministers will just give you 1/3, where you can bring in experts into your cabinet. So the cabinet members are part of the parliament. They sit and meet with them. The premier is part of the parliament. It is not only goes there once a year to announce budget and walks out.
How can we get a people's constitution? Because part of your resolution was to have a people's constitution.
Yes.
Now, do you think, because you also told me that it will be like a committing class suicide, if we expect this system to give us...
No. Change is one of the most difficult things to achieve. People always resist change, even if it's ultimately going to be for their good, because it is an unknown. So they resist it. This restructuring we are talking about is going to be good for the good of every part of this country. Every part of this. What we have now, I think I've told you before, it is twin evil of military intervention and oil boom that destroyed this country. Oh yes, it is the oil boom. The constitution we have now is based on the oil boom, believing that oil will be flowing and the money will be coming in forever. So we just sit in Abuja and continue to share and share and share. The constitution puts Nigeria into a consumption mode, always consuming. It took us away from the productive mode that we were in the First Republic. So what we are clamoring for now is that, number one, it is obvious to everybody that oil is not bringing in money anymore. And in the next 20 years or 30 years, it will be completely out of it. And in any case, it is an expendable commodity. In other words, it does not last forever.
It might even become irrelevant.
That's what I'm saying.
By
in 20, 30 years, 20, 40 years, when they are not using the fuel. So for us, it will be sheer folly to continue to rely on oil boom and to continue with this consumption mode that we are in. So what we are advocating is that Nigeria should go back to the production mode, which empowers every region to explore and exploit the resources in that region for the good of that region. And all parts of Nigeria will benefit from it, because all parts of Nigeria have resources. Largest number of mineral resources in Nigeria reside in the north. Largest number in the north. But this consumptive constitution that we run has turned us into indolent people. People now enjoy putting on babariga and sharing government money all the way. Nobody is thinking of how to exploit the resources in his own base. You are waiting for allocation every month. I once said it on one of the media that a governor can go and sleep for 30 days. He's sure after 30 days, about 2, 3, 4 billion will arrive on his table, and he has the absolute right to share it the way he pleases.
How can we achieve people's constitution? This government, as it is as sworn.
I get with you.
To uphold this constitution that they have.
The status quo.
1999 constitution. Yeah. The president, you recall, also said, and that is speech, that famous speech, that we have only 2 legitimate, channels. Organs of government where we can discuss. Good. Now, and he was talking about being legitimate in the sense that the constitution gave them the power, for us to do that. How do we hope to
circumvent this
a people's constitution through the existing machinery?
Not through the existing machinery. I can tell you that clearly. Not through this. And I will go ahead, and if you allow me some time, I will explain how we are going to achieve it.
If we can achieve it through the existing machinery, wouldn't be working against the status quo?
No, we are working against the status quo. We are trying to adopt persuasive means now to make them see reason. If you are elected into office, you are supposed to listen to your people. You are good for those who elected you. But the present status quo has given them so much benefits, this tiny leadership political elite. I think I have defined our democracy for you before. Our democracy in Nigeria today is government of the political elite, for the political elite, by the political elite, not for the people, as Abraham Lincoln said. So, but they know that sooner than later they are coming home. I'm sure if they see the video or the photo clips and the newspapers of what happened yesterday, those Yorubas who did not come to the summit, who were duly invited, will know that there is fire on the mountain.
So how do we achieve it? How do you want to go through?
Beautiful. We are starting by listening and wooing Nigerians who believe in this restructuring thing to gradually come together. And I'm happy you said it yesterday. The Southeast was there in solidarity, the South was there. I'm sure at the next such summit, which is coming up within the next 2 or 3 weeks, the Southeast is organizing his own summit. He said it yesterday. We all will be there as well. By that summit, I'm sure we will have the middle belt. They wrote to us to say they want to work with us Southern leaders. So they are working with us. They should have been there yesterday, but they have I think they are having their election this weekend for their own leadership. So, but by the next summit, perhaps in the East or South, you will see all of us together. Then it will be clear, even to the blind man and the deaf, that this is Nigerian people coming together. We are part of a global world now, Shehu. We are not in isolation. No part of this world is in isolation now. We are part of the global world. As we are shouting, the international community is listening. And may God forbid a crisis in Nigeria will spell doom even for the Western countries. Of course, half of Africa will always be consumed by migrants. So they are not going to, this country does not belong to Abuja alone. It does not belong to the National Assembly or the executive alone. We are in a democracy, we are not in a dictatorship. We are adopting a persuasive means now to make the leadership see reason and respond to us by initiating a process which we have told them. We are by starting one executive bill to the National Assembly to introduce referendum into our constitution, and I can tell you that will be passed. If it is not passed, we will still continue with our struggle, but I can assure you once the executive introduces it, the legislators who are now attempting to hide under one finger, we discover that they would then be exposed. We are not taking these votes anymore that you don't know who voted for what. That's what they did for us in the last devolution of powers vote in the National Assembly. You should know whether your representative voted for what you sent him to vote for. It's not a secret. Democracy is not a secret. Democracy is open space political administration. It's open, transparent, where people will know whether you are doing the bidding of those who elected you. So that's our program, one referendum. Once that is done, that referendum, I can assure you, is not going to be based not on individual citizens voting, because we have never accepted the population figures of this country. So we want to base it on the states. In other words, we have 36.
Yes.
Excellent. Thank you for your question. We have 36 states, so 36 and a half with FCT. If a referendum is conducted in Oyo State and Oyo people say 70% or 60% vote for restructuring, that is positive for restructuring. Ekiti State, Anambra, this, that. That's what we are going to bring together. All right? So it's not going to be a matter of the population figures that have been manipulated.
You don't think that will also cause some arguments?
Why? Tell us why. Is states not a basis of the federalism? Isn't that the federating unit now? What makes one state superior to the other? The people in the state, they vote 60%.
So that's one vote for restructuring.
Exactly. Out of 37.
Okay, we'll see how that goes. The program is Insight on Splash 105.5 FM. We'll take a break and be back. Thank you for staying with us on Inside here on Splash 105.5 FM. My guest is Dr. Kunle Olajide, the Secretary General, Yoruba Council of Elders. We are still talking about the Ibadan Declaration. Did you invite the House of Representatives members who are of Yoruba extraction?
That's a beautiful question. If I had my phone here, I will show it to you. You will see the text by Femi Gbajabiamila to all his colleagues. We invited them in writing. And when he invited his colleagues, because they are on break, through his text message, he posted it to our phone, to my phone. It's on my phone. We invited them. He, in turn, invited his colleagues. And we told them that we were going to have the Senate speak and House of Reps speak. Believing they will become.
You equally invited senators.
All of them. Yes, we did.
Now, the reason for me is this. I did not see a single senator of the Federal Republic, nor did I see a single House of Representatives member at that summit. And I kept wondering, why?
I didn't see any of them too. And we are still wondering too. I don't know whether they will tell us with time whether they are vowed to restructuring or whatever. We want to know their position. But I sincerely hope that they are not getting completely disconnected. The first reason we had that most of them still stay in Abuja is because they have not been paid. But nobody can convince me that they don't have enough money to fly to Ibadan for the summit, and in any case they are not supposed to stay during their vacation in Abuja. They are come to their constituency.
We know that they are on vacation.
Yeah, we know. That's what I'm saying.
And so
I'm happy you have brought this up. That's one of the defects of this system. And the people are saying mind. No, the system first. It is the system that is keeping, in quotes, President Donald Trump, whipping him into line in America now. It is the system. Otherwise, his idiosyncrasy would almost have torpedoed the whole world. But the system keeps whipping him into line to conform. So it is because our system, in fact, we have no system. You are elected by people and you completely disconnect yourself from them. Number one, you conspire to impoverish them because the ordinary Nigerian voter now has been impoverished by this system. And you believe because you are in Abuja, you will come about 6 or 9 months to the election, come with Okada machines, what do you call it, grinding machines and so on, then with some money to distribute to them, they will vote for you again. That's what we are working against now. We are sensitizing.
That has been the system.
That's what I'm saying. That's why we are sensitizing the people. You saw the crowd yesterday. That's the first phase of the struggle. If you had my speech, you would have said, I mentioned it there, that we are under no illusion that this will be an easy thing to achieve. No, it's going to be a long haul. but we have our hands on the plow. We are not looking back.
There is the goal.
Oh yes, until we achieve this for the future of this country and for our children.
Because if you, I was, in my opinion now, not just something we on fact, but I feel that if we are able to rally around all of the House of Representative members, senators of
that's a tall dream, they will still not get it passed. They will still not, but because
they'll be able to use the system to get to achieve what you want to achieve.
No, you can never. I will tell you the reasons.
Why?
Fine. Local governments were created arbitrarily during the military regime. Arbitrarily. Let's even start from 1966. 1966, we had 4 regions. All right? 1966, 4 regions. 4 regions. Now, with 36 states, one region out of the 36 states now have 19 states. And the remaining 3 regions, 17. Is that fair? I really want you to think deep on this. We had 4 regions, equal coordinates. The military came in, started splitting, balkanizing these states and so on. So what we have now is that one region out of those 4 regions now has 19 states. And the remaining 3, they have 17. Is that fair? Is that justice? And that is the basis of voting people into the National Assembly, and you are expecting us to use them to change the status quo. It's impossible.
No, my question was,
how do we, if we can get them on our side? You cannot.
The one from the Yoruba extraction.
Yeah, I've told you the general basis.
For us to bring them in.
We don't have a problem because there is no point. We don't want to expend our useful energy pushing and giving people an impossible task. They have said it themselves. No matter how much you win all of them to you, you still will not carry the day in the National Assembly because it is based on the injustice I've just enumerated. It cannot. Get all of them, all the Yoruba people, senators, House of Reps, and so on. Even go to the East. Get all the ones in the East, in the Niger Delta. It won't move an inch.
If the North did not buy into
this, it won't work. From North region alone, they have 19 states. Now 3 regions are struggling with 17. Is that justice?
And do you if this is the situation, do you think you can achieve this?
We will achieve it.
How?
The people, the power belongs to the people. I don't want to start on the air telling you we have our plans, and you can trust Yoruba people. We don't make too much noise. I told you what Chief Awolowo did in those days. He brought us up. I was Secretary of Action Group Students Union in the University of Ibadan. We have our plans. It's not for the media. But please use your medium to persuade the powers that be to listen to us and let us take this peaceful approach of dialogue to change this system.
Are the governors on your side?
They are, absolutely. Their representatives came yesterday and read their speeches. They are with us. This is not just one party. It's not a question of a party or a group of people. The Oni was there physically. Alaafin had the traditional ceremony yesterday. So he sent Oyomesi. They were there. That's his cabinet.
I saw some speakers gravitating towards the fact that if we don't get restructuring, we would like to go our way.
It's been on for the past 6 months. In fact, the youth have been very restive. They called me. If I had my phone here, I would give you their text. Yolicom, Yoruba Liberation, something and so on. They have said we are wasting time. About 4 days ago, the head of Yolicom told me that, sir, we have been on this negotiation with these people and started citing previous conferences as that they will not hear, and yes, they have been restive, and that may be, I hope not, I hope it won't end there, because we believe that all parts of Nigeria will benefit from a united, peaceful, truly federal, progressive Federal Republic of Nigeria. But if some people are dragging those who are up down to their level and they want that to continue, those they are dragging down now say no more.
But the government already said that there are multiple meanings.
Anybody who says that is being mischievous. If you remember in my speech, I said we have painstakingly prepared a document that captures the very essence of Yoruba aspiration, our own idea of restructuring, and we are putting it forward. We launched it yesterday as our own basis for negotiation. So we are inviting other Nigerians, take a look at it and let us sit down and then agree. There must be compromises here and there. Nobody is saying you have to take my own or it is my own that is superior. No, but we must sit down to talk. And then we advance legitimate arguments to push our positions. Then we now reach a consensus. So anybody who says he doesn't know, it means this to this, is just simply being mischievous. Our document is out.
Okay. I saw that you said we should move from rent seeking to production. Yes. You also said it here, yes. And you said in your speech too that yes. you want to see.
There are no pyramids of the old in the north. I'm nostalgic for this. I want to see palm produce revived in the east. Cocoa stores used to be virtually almost everywhere in Western region. Unfortunately, because of this consumptive mood that we are in, those centers are now worship centers. I want to see once again cocoa stores brimming with cocoa pods, spread and being dried in front of cocoa stores. I want to see the Niger Delta, for God's sake, develop the technology that will give us maximum utilization of the oil and gas resources we have there. Not bringing in expatriates to come and deceive us, mine about 20,000 barrels of oil and tell us they mine just 2. And then I want to see the industries, the factories brimming with activities so that all able-bodied Nigerians who want to work are gainfully employed. What a beautiful society we will have all over Nigeria.
The Senate president has said that they are probably going to go back into these voting over devolution of powers. Do you see any prospect in there?
I do not. Legislature anywhere in the world is meant to make laws for the good government of the people. They are not to write constitution because they are supposed to be products of the constitution. If the people are clamoring for a new constitution, if they rightly say this constitution is not their own, they were not part of the making. If the late Chief Rotimi Williams will say this constitution lied against itself, he said we the people of Nigeria when we did not know when it was made. Chief Oluwaseun Akinola did not see the constitution until after he was sworn in. He did not even know the level of his responsibilities until it was sworn in. The legislators did not know the limit of their powers until they were sworn in. That is not the constitution. No matter how long you continue to panel-beat this constitution, we will not meet our aspirations.
Do you think we can get this constitution?
We will get it. We will get it by the grace of God and the will of the Nigerian people.
Do you think the Senate and the House of Representatives will allow us to have referendum put in our constitution?
Let them not allow it. Any other thing would be too dangerous for Nigeria. They will be consumed in this struggle. You remember Chief Abiola said yesterday, he said the wind of restructuring is blowing very fast. You either blow with it or you get consumed or destroyed by it. I only hope they know they are holding power in trust for the people. It's not their power.
Did you reach out to Chief Bola Tinubu?
Yes, he was represented here by Dr. Wale Edun and Odujukan.
How about Chief Obasanjo?
We reached out to him, but whether he sent people or not, nobody came to me to say he sent them.
But he's not in support of restructuring.
No,
he has said it publicly.
That is not right. You probably didn't listen to him well. I listened to that speech on television, I think somewhere about South Africa doing something.
South Africa, when he went for a launch of the book.
He contradicted himself along the line because he got to a stage where he started saying you discuss something I can't remember, but definitely he got our document even before this the summit. I sent my subcommittee on mobilization to meet him. Chief Ajasin led them. And when I was told I wasn't there, that because we knew that he wanted this military thing, centralized power in the hand of one man in Abuja, and somebody or some people somewhere remote controlling that person, that they are the power behind the throne. We don't want that anymore. But I was told when he received that document, he took time to read it, so they told me. And when he read, I said, yeah, this is good. Nobody has attempted to tell us what they want for the structure. You are the one first doing it, and we keep this and go and study it. But the few I've read, we want to make Nigeria stronger and bigger. So we are surprised just 4 days after that, and we saw him on television saying restructuring and so on. But definitely, I personally do not believe any single person anywhere in the world is more than about 50 million people. No way.
What's your hope on this country?
This country? I want to still give it a chance. I love Nigeria. I'm a passionate Nigerian, very passionate. I've spent virtually 3/4 of my life fighting for a good and just Nigeria. have been arrested, have been detained. So it is not a new. I love the country. I don't want the country to break. But if any tiny clique believe they will continue to have their way at the expense of the majority of Nigerians, we might not be able to avoid an implosion. And that implosion will be catastrophic to Nigeria, will be catastrophic to Africa, will be catastrophic to the world. And I'm sure the world will resist it. They will intervene at the appropriate time. I don't have a doubt. We are moving forward. Nigerians are doing their best in all important sectors of the world economy. We are in the space center in America directing. We have the surgeons, operating presidents of America, and so on and so forth. And so why do you want to keep us perpetually backward? We will not accept it. The time has come. We want to join the other civilized communities of the world.
Dr. Kunle Olajide, thank you for speaking with Splash FM.
It's a pleasure. Thanks for the opportunity.